Hi, everyone, and welcome to our virtual open week and today's live stream. My name is Lorraine. I'm the CEO of Formula Botanica, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this live stream because I've got a really special one for you. I'm going to be interviewing one of our graduates who is here with me today. So I'd very much like to introduce you to Ikhlaas Majid, who has just launched her gorgeous brand in the USA called Areesa Botanicals. So welcome, Ikhlaas.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you very much.
Well, I think you're doing very well, aren't you? Because you've just launched your brand.
Yes, I'm really excited about it. And it's been a few weeks since we launched. I officially launched on June 15th. And up until now, it's been quite a ride. It's been great. And I'm really excited for the future.
Yeah, me too. Well, I can't wait to dive in and hear all about it. So today I'm going to be interviewing Ikhlaas to find out more about what it's like to become a skincare formulator and then become a skincare entrepreneur and launch your own brand. We're going to be talking more about what it's like to study at Formula Botanica because I can tell you, but it's really nice for you to hear from one of our graduates as well. And we'll be answering your questions. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them up in the chat box. And we'll do our best to answer as many as we can as we go through this live stream, and I'll put them up on the screen. We'll also be putting this live stream as a replay up on YouTube afterwards. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a replay, and please do come on over to Facebook as well, where you can see all the questions and answers that happened underneath. So I guess the first thing is let's introduce your brand. So you launched in the last couple of weeks. What's your
Yes.
brand called and what are you selling?
My brand is called Areesa Botanicals. Actually, Areesa actually means a mirror in the language Gujarati, and Gujarat is the place where I was born and brought up. So when I was searching for a brand name, I actually was looking for something that kind of had the meaning reflection, or reflect yourself. And I was looking at the word mirror in a lot of different languages, like French or Spanish, and then it got to me that why don't I just go back to where I came from and get the language, the local language of the area. Although we didn't speak Gujarati, but we were taught Gujarati in school. A lot of my friends were Gujarati, so and it has a nice ring to it, I think. So that's how Areesa Botanicals was born, and yeah, it just literally means a mirror.
I love it.
And so I started off with five. You know how it is, right? Like, we have so many different ideas. And when I actually sat down to write it, I had 17 products. And I was like, there is no way I can launch with 17 right now. It's a one-person show. So I launched with five, which I think is a basic beginner skincare routine.
Mhm.
So I have two facial oils, the Wisdom
Yeah.
and the Blossom. I don't know if you can see the Wisdom and the Blossom. And the Wisdom is actually for a more mature skin type, like if you have like fine lines or dull skin or dry patchy skin, if you're above the age of 30. And I called it Wisdom because I don't like the term anti-aging. I'm not using that. And wisdom is something that you get with age. This is what I've noticed, that as you get older, you just don't care about a lot of things. You get wiser on, you know how to pick your own battles. You're not that naive person anymore, and you get more confident. So wisdom is what you get when you're aging. uh, Blossom is actually a lighter oil. It's actually floral, and it has a very floral because it has geranium and palmarosa oil. So it is kind of like a very florally, and it's also very light. So it's good for summertime use.
Mhm.
Also, you can use it as a primer under your makeup, and it's good for people with oily skin. Actually, people think that people with oily skin can't really use facial oils, but this actually leaves your skin kind of matte. You'll be surprised. And these are the reviews I've been getting, that Blossom is kind of actually a non-oily oil.
Nice.
So it's great. And then I have two face masks, the Blush and the Luminous. The Luminous is actually for, I would say, we can't use the word acne protection or anything like that, but this actually does that. It is extremely purifying, deep cleansing, and it has neem, turmeric, and tulsi, which are kind of antibacterial and anti-inflammatory products. So it just kind of pulls out the dirt and the grime out of your face and gives you like a nice, cleanse.
Mhm.
And the blush is actually more of it's a clay based mask, which is made, the base is kaolin clay, which is like the most gentle clay, but it also has rose, hibiscus, and manjushta, which is a root. It's actually a red colored root, and it also has coconut milk powder and honey powder. So it kind of like does not leave your face dry, but like the coconut milk and the honey and the kaolin kind of, you just, the face gets cleansed, but then it's also a very gentle cleanser, and it's also kind of like nourishing and moisturizing. So this is something that I use a lot because I don't need I'm 35, so I don't need the acne mask anymore. But yeah, I use the blush a lot. And the main product I think is the hair oil. Hair oil is something that I have not seen a lot in the mainstream US market. And just think about it, like the scalp is the only part of your body that you don't moisturize, actively moisturize, right? Like you have everything from eyelash and cuticle cream and elbow cream, and you have a neck cream. But what about your scalp? It's just dry. You keep on washing it every day and you don't kind of nourish it. So this is actually a treatment for your scalp. It has amla hair oil, and amla is like extremely good for your hair. It's big in the Indian subcontinent. People usually make their own hair oil, and it also has ingredients like tea tree and rosemary, which are kind of more Western ingredients. So I kind of blended the good of the Ayurvedic ingredients with the rest of the ingredients, and this really works. I've used it for like a long time, and I like it.
Nice. Oh, well, that's fantastic. I love hearing about all the products that you've created and also the
Thank you.
inspiration behind your ingredients.
Thank you
So
very
what
much.
inspired you to start your own beauty brand?
Well, it's a long story. Actually, in this goes back in like 2012 when I had when my kids were little. Like I've just had a baby, and then my older son was like 5. And it actually started when my older son, he developed like a little eczema patch on his elbow, and it just wouldn't go away. And I took him to the doctor. The doctor wasn't too concerned because it wasn't spreading or anything, but then it was kind of annoying him. He kept on itching and everything. So I thought like I have to do something. So I searched up, like I Googled, and then I came across shea butter. That's the first time I actually came across shea butter. And then I just mixed, shea butter with a bunch of oils. I actually made it I made a cold blended cream. I did not even know that at that time. And it surprisingly, like, cured his patch. And I was really surprised that the doctor gave him some cream which didn't cure it. And what I made cured it. So I started to research more about it. And around the same time, there was a very nice buzz going on in the green beauty industry, that we were seeing all these green brands come up. And so slowly I switched myself and my kids to greener products, which now I realize were highly greenwashed products. you know you start somewhere, and I didn't know how to read labels or anything, so anything that went by the word organic or pure or natural, I just bought it. But slowly I started to gain an interest in it, as initially, like, I started with making lip balms and salves for myself. I never even thought about anything about selling. But then when my youngest child, he was going to a school going age, I knew that when he went to school full time, I definitely want to do something, like, because I was always a full time mom, a stay at home mom. So I thought, why not just go into this direction? And that's when I found Formula Botanica. I enrolled in 2017 in the DOSF, and it took me a little less than 2 years to kind of finish it. That's a long time, but I took my own time. I went slow,
Yeah.
and I learned a lot, actually. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just glad I found you guys. And before, actually, I would like to say that before enrolling with Formula Botanica, I thought I knew a lot and I'm ready. I was just there, but I just wanted to take a course to kind of just be sure, like, just so that I can tell other people that, okay, I've done this and I know. But once I enrolled, I found out that I don't know so much. There is such a wide, like, initially I just used to pour essential oils, like, oops, this is a little bit too much. And I did not know how to structure a formula or how to be consistent with it. I did not know how to research or nothing about dermal limits. But I learned everything here. I could never imagine I would make emulsions or foaming, work with surfactants, but now I do, and I'm glad.
Well, thank you so much. And we're so pleased that you found us too. And just to clarify, DOSF is an acronym that some of us use for our Diploma in Organic Skincare Formulation. So right now, between the 7th and the 14th of July, all of our courses are open for enrollment. We're currently enrolling hundreds of new students. In fact, we are very close to enrolling our 10,000th student. So I'm very excited to see who that's going to be. And if that's you watching, then, obviously we'll be thrilled to welcome you into our community. We've got lots of people watching today as well, by the way. I've got comments from Scotland, Portugal, Philippines, Peru, Costa Rica. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this interview with Ikhlaas to find out more about what it's like to study at Formula Botanica. So I'm going to run through some questions. And if you have any questions for Ikhlaas or for me, leave them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. So I guess the first question is, you've talked a little bit about, finding Formula Botanica and how, it changed the way that you approached formulations. What's it like studying at Formula Botanica?
It's actually, I loved it because, all the modules, they're very structured. All the information is very well put together. I love it that they have video notes as well because, some people are like, I'm a reader. I would rather read than do anything, but I love it that they have videos. I really enjoy the video content. Also, the information, I like that, you guys are not providing formulas, but you guys are teaching us how to build our own. So, we can, and how to research. How to research is actually one of the most underrated thing. Like, you feel that, okay, the information is out there, all you have to go and seek it. But there's over information out there. There's too much information and a lot of it is very misleading. I see a lot of skincare bloggers and a lot of people talking about, if like, there's a buzzword, paraben, like, oh my God, this has paraben, stay away. Like, okay, but this is preservative free, go for it. This is 100% preservative free. Are you even sure about it? This is vegan, so it has to be safe. There is so much misinformation out there, and it kind of, and the funny, like, before joining in, I was actually coming across this funny fact a lot, that an average woman eats 6 pounds of lipstick every year. And I was like, what even? And then, so many myths were busted, so many misinformation was cleared, and how to conduct a proper structured research was taught to me. This is the one thing that I learned. Of course, all the technical information, all the theoretical information, that is, unmatchable. The other thing that I would like to mention is the community of the teachers, of the tutors, and especially the students. Like, when you're down or you're not feeling it, like, there's always someone to kind of push you up. There's always like someone with their story to kind of, motivate you. So I love the community out there, and I've made very good friends in similar industries. So it helps a lot to kind of, just to kind of, if you're feeling down, like, okay, this is not working, what's going on? Why is this formulation turning this way? And then we're like, okay, I tried this, and this is what works. So I love how people are always there to help, others and go for it. So That's what I really love about it.
Oh, thank you. That's lovely to hear. That's really important to us, actually, because we want people to come for the courses and stay for the community. And the community is something we've invested a lot of time and energy and passion into, because we know that having people have your back is one of the most important things when you're starting this new journey. And it's an adventure, isn't it? Launching your own brand.
It is. Oh my God, it's such a big adventure. I can't even tell you. Like, sometimes now I see that, a lot of people in the community, they ask these very beginner questions that, now I can answer. But I remember my time 2 years back when I was asking these questions, very basic, something that you think that, oh, what is there in this question? But then people went ahead and answered this question in a very well structured manner that, I could actually understand. So I try my best to do the same thing for others, to kind of give back in a little way. Although I could be more active, but yeah, I'll try my best.
Well, you have just launched a brand, so we'll let you off. No, it's important for us. We very much want to give the message that we're all in this together, and we're all here to lift each other up. And it's only when all the indie brands and the whole green beauty movement clubs together that we can take on the big guys. So that's really the sort of motivation behind it, which is so important to us. We've got a couple of questions coming in already, so I'm going to highlight a few and dive back into my own questions afterwards. Nora asks, was it easy to understand how to formulate through watching the videos in our courses? How did you find the whole learning to formulate process?
I actually had an interest in learning. When you go out to seek anything, you should definitely have some kind of interest in that subject. If someone is not into cooking and you show them videos by the best chefs, they wouldn't really enjoy it. So there has to. I had an interest in formulating, so it was good for me. I really enjoyed it. I was actually looking forward to go to the next module and formulate the next product. I've actually made products with every module, like every single thing I have made it. Sometimes you think that, oh, okay, this is just a toner. What's the big deal about it? This is just an eye gel, but those are so tricky. And you actually find that out after you make it. So that's why it took a long time to kind of go through the whole course. But if the question is that how hard it was not very hard for me because the videos are very well structured. The notes are better actually because they provide much more detailed information. You should always ask questions if you are stuck at something. The reply comes like very quick and you can move forward. But yes, I would say overall it's easy for a beginner, like diploma in organic skincare formulation. If you're even a slight bit interested in this area, you should definitely go for it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we've set up the courses in such a way that you get video tuition. So we show you, and you see we've cut off our heads, so you can't see us in the videos, but you can see our
Yeah.
hands from the front. But we also have cameras above us, so you can imagine that being you cooking, or imagine it like a cookery show, really.
Yes, it
You
is.
formulating. And then we give you lots of written notes that walk through lots of troubleshooting as well. So why did my gel separate? Why is my balm grainy? Why is my foaming product hazy? Why hasn't it cleared? So we walk you through all of these different things that might happen. And then we have a whole team of tutors who manage our forums, which are filled with tens of thousands of comments. So you can go and read all the Q&As in there
Yes.
as well. So we
And
work
it,
really hard with
and
that.
it's also, I would like to add that it's also, a means of trial and error. I mean, sometimes you might watch the video, sometimes you might do everything right, and it still wouldn't turn right. I mean, you just stuck there like, what am I doing wrong? And it's okay, just keep on practicing. Maybe and it's more like a science. I think formulating is just like a science. It's if even like one little step goes wrong, especially when you're working with gels or emulsions or foaming surfactants, you have to be very careful with the percentages and the weights and yeah, so you can't really just eyeball things or so you have to be you will just learn with trial and error. That's what I would
Yeah.
like to say.
And I want you to have total disasters, because those are the
Yes.
best learning opportunities. It's very easy to think I'm in a big rush, I'm going to go through the course, I'm going to do everything once and then I'm done. But actually I want you to go and have a complete disaster a few times, and then you'll sit there and you'll think I can't do this, and then you'll go and do it again, and you'll
I actually did that so many times. Like the disasters were more than the successes. One, the body scrub formulation. This is actually so funny. The body scrub module, and I was like, "What's in a body scrub?" And I had instant coffee, and I made body scrub with instant coffee, and oh my god, it was such a mess. Like my whole shower was filled with coffee, and like everything. I'm like, what is going on? And because I'm not a very big coffee drinker, we drink tea, and I just had that handy. I'm like, okay, I'll just make a scrub with instant coffee, and it just melted everything on contact, and everything went brown. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how it works. And now, like, hopefully, I'm working on a body scrub. Like now, I love body scrub so much that my next product would probably be a body scrub.
There you go. And that's the whole process of formulating and learning how to become a formulator. You have these complete disasters. Like the first
Yes.
time I made an emulsion, it looked like scrambled egg. And
Yes,
that's
I've
okay.
been there. Yes, the scrambled egg emulsion. I think everybody has been through that.
And you have to go through that, because then you
Yes,
start to understand, okay, I need to do this differently. I need to tweak that in the method. And then you start to think like a formulator.
yes,
And even when you've been formulating for, dozens of years, you can still have disasters, but that's a
yes,
good
you
thing.
can.
Each ingredient is slightly different. So that's the fun part of formulating.
It is really fun. Yes.
So how do you source ingredients for your formulations and for your business?
Well, currently, if I go big, hopefully, I would definitely source it from India, where I use a lot of Ayurvedic ingredients in my products. But currently, I just go for because it's a very small batch. I need very little quantity. So, and there are supplies here in the United States, excellent suppliers. We have Essential Wholesale, we have Mountain Rose Herbs, and Essential Depot and Formulator Sample Shop. All these suppliers are excellent. They have good quality, certified organic ingredients. They are very open about where they source it from. So since it's a very small quantity, currently everything is sourced from here in the United States. I think it also saves on the carbon footprint just to kind of source the ingredients from, where you live, closer to you. But yeah, a lot of ingredients are originated in India, and it's not purely Ayurvedic, because Ayurveda is a whole science. You can't just so I take Ayurvedic ingredients, and then I'm not afraid to kind of incorporate other ingredients, like we have jojoba oil and olive squalane, and we have rice bran oil, and tea tree and rosemary, and all these essential oils that are not native to India. So it's like a blend of both the worlds.
That sounds wonderful. And what a wonderful inspiration behind your ingredients and your formulation philosophy. And this is something we want all the formulators in our community to do. And Ikhlaas already talked about the fact that we don't give you recipes. We
Yes.
want you to learn how to create your own formulations from scratch, because that's the most empowering thing. And then you go out and you find your formulation philosophy and embed that into your products, just like Ikhlaas has done, which is very exciting. Let's see, we've got some more questions coming in. I'm just tackling the formulation questions at the moment.
Sure.
We're going to come to the business ones in a minute. So here's a question from Janelle, who says, how do you go about finding a reputable company that sells Ayurvedic herbs in powder and leaf? Good question.
Like a supplier?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I always work with suppliers that have some credibility. So, for example, like Mountain Rose Herbs, they have been in business for so long, and they provide, all the documentation that you need for your formulations. A lot of smaller companies that I reach to, actually, they would refuse to give me the documentation, the MSDS files, and the certificates of origin and everything. And a lot of bigger companies, the better companies, the suppliers, they were actually very open about it. They were, they just emailed me all the formulations, the certificates right away. So I always make sure that, you work with someone who has, at least to begin with, because when you go directly to the, producer, you might need to order in such big quantities that as a new business, you can't really, it's not feasible for you unless you're producing in your products in like hundreds of kilograms. It's not really possible for you to kind of go to the original grower or the farmer or whatever to work directly with the farms. So you have to kind of start off small, work with suppliers who have been in a business for a long time, who are ready to answer your questions, because some people, like, they just sell you and then they disappear. You're like, you keep on emailing and then no answer. But yes, so what I can recommend is Mountain. They are a little expensive as well. You might find like prices on Amazon that are like 10 times cheaper than what you might find on some of the reputable suppliers. But it's very well worth it, because a lot of times a lot of these products are just kind of not good quality or fake or cheap. So you might want to go for a good reputable supplier.
Yeah, just like with going through the process of formulating, it's a bit of trial and error as well when you're going through the process of finding suppliers. And
Right.
sometimes it's worth ordering from different suppliers, maybe the same ingredient in small
Right,
quantities,
to
just
check.
to test it out. And
That's why I actually mix and match my suppliers. A few of them are from Essential Wholesale, a few of them are from Eden Botanicals, Mountain Rose Herbs. I kind of keep on playing. And I live in the United States because I see these questions from students all the time, that where do I source this? Where do I source that? But I live in the United States, so ingredients and supplies are actually not a problem for me to source them, because you pretty much get everything here. So, and I can understand, like, how some students say that shipping is a problem because the shipping costs more than the ingredients sometimes. So, yeah, that is thankfully not a problem for me right now.
yeah, you're in a very fortunate part of the world. And
Yes.
that is a conversation we have very openly with our students, that
Yes.
you want some of those functional ingredients in particular. Those are the trickiest ones to source. But countries like the United States, Canada, many parts of Europe, parts
Yes.
of Australasia. It's quite easy to come by. And you just have to get to know the suppliers and find out how they work and
Yes,
what they
over a period of time, you also develop a relationship with them. So, like, they know that you're calling or you're emailing, and then they kind of just send you the MDS without even asking for it. So it's all good. I mean, I have never honestly had any problem with supplies. I've never had to ask anyone where they source it from because it was always there for me.
yeah.
So honestly, I can't really answer this question in a well-meaning way.
No, that's great. We know those suppliers you've mentioned as well. Some of them even have students on our courses. Some of their
Yes,
staff are on our courses as
yes.
well. So they're all great suppliers you talk about. Right, let's talk a little bit about your business. Let's see. This was a great question from Mawada. What was the hardest obstacle you faced when starting your brand, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I think the hardest obstacle is not external, but it's internal. Like it's you. It's yourself. Like you are like your I used to doubt myself so much, and what I'm doing right now, I could have very well done a year ago, but self-doubt and anxiety and just thinking about like who's going to buy my product. There's already so much out there, and why there's an imposter syndrome, which is why am I doing this? Like why am I good to do this? So basically lack of confidence, anxiety. There's so many different things before you kind of jump in, but so these were like some of my biggest hurdles. The biggest hurdles were inside me, inside my head, psychological and not physical, because I knew my craft, like I knew my work. I knew I was good at formulating. I knew, the path to follow, the directions to follow. I knew the success stories, but it was just this self doubt inside you, this pit in your stomach that, no, you can't do it. You're something pulling you back. So these are the hurdles, these are the barriers that you have to break. And this is not something external. I think I've spoken to a lot of people, and very few people have that, like, inbuilt confidence, like, oh my God, I'm just going to go out and crush it. And I didn't have that, but it's taken me a long time to kind of come here, and hopefully, I'll
Yeah.
go forward.
And that is very normal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think pretty much every single business owner faces that, because you start to think you have to get over that you have to get over yourself,
Over
basically.
yourself, right? Over yourself. And you are your biggest kind of, sometimes you're your biggest supporter, sometimes you're your biggest enemy. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
this is a harsh word, but it's true.
Yeah.
You're always feeling that I'm not doing it right, there's something wrong, there's something more I need to learn, probably something more that I need to read to kind of. And even, like, when you enter the business world, you don't have to know everything 100%. That is not possible. That is just not possible. A lot of things you will learn eventually as you grow, as you go. Just think about, like, being in a profession like being a doctor or a lawyer or a computer engineer or whatever. They don't know 100% on their first day of their job, right? But they still go and do for it, and a lot of it is learning on hands, and this is what we have to do as well.
Yeah, totally. And when we put together our diploma in beauty brand business management, which I should
Oh
add is
yes.
so currently open for enrollment.
Yes, I after I'm done with these two certificates, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that in a minute as well. But the part of that diploma is that we teach you how to start to cultivate the right mindset, because we found that so many of our students, they had the formulations. I've got some of our graduates formulations here, and they wanted to turn them into a business, but there were just all these hurdles that they were putting up for themselves. So we said, let's start with mindset before we even go near branding and manufacturing and legals and finance and
Right.
retail and marketing.
Exactly. The mindset is so important. And this is something that this proved to be like my biggest hurdle. Like seriously, my own self. And I did not imagine, like I thought, okay, once I'm done with this course, this is this. I know where to go, I know what to do, and I'll be sad. But I'm like, and as there was something pulling me down, like, wait a minute, why do you think you're qualified? What if you fail? What if this happens? What if that happens? And I wouldn't know the answer to all these questions until I started, and I did, and now it's going on.
Exactly. Well, here you are. What if you fail? What if you fly? What a wonderful way of looking at things.
Yes.
So, what's required? Let me just hide this comment actually. What's required to start your indie beauty brand? Let's talk a little bit about the steps that you went through in order to start your business. What did you do first after you had your formulations ready to go?
So the first thing was I registered my business. I had registered my business long back, but I just started. I am in the process of getting a trademark, and all these legal steps that, the insurance, the setting up the company, the trademarking. You should also check if you have a domain name. If you're picking a brand name, you should check if there is no other similar. I had actually picked so many brand names, and then later on I found that, oh, okay, this exists in like Norway, or like, this is probably a small salon in Pakistan or whatever. So I had to kind of come down with that. And so you should also check your Instagram handles, the social media handles, if they're available. There are all these very small nitty gritty things that are actually very important, because sometimes I'm like, okay, this is my brand, it's registered, LLC is done, this and that. And then you find that the domain name is taken, or you don't have the Instagram handle, or there's a trademark on that, or something like that. So you are in trouble. So you should, first of all, set all the legal terms, all the legal conditions aside. The other thing you should do is test your formulations, of course, read a lot about them, be informed, be ready to answer customer questions, figure out logistics. And a lot of it, honestly, I'm still doing, like, I'm still learning. Currently I'm shipping only to the United States. I had started shipping to Canada, but then it was very expensive for me. So currently, until I figure out better solutions, I'm not shipping worldwide. So yeah, there's more legal, like, so the funny thing is that, like, I got into this business obviously because I enjoy formulating, and now I would say that formulating is like maybe 10 or 15% of my whole business. And the rest of is just legal, financial, logistics, you know customer relations. So it's based photography, social media, like, it's so much, it's,
Yeah. I know
yeah.
the
So
feeling. Don't worry.
yes.
But that's the fun part of
That's
stuff.
the fun part. Yes, I never really thought that I would enjoy so many things, and I'm learning a lot. I'm learning PR, public relations, and interacting with, you. I'm sending out a lot of my products to bloggers, mini bloggers, micro bloggers as well, and working with them. And yeah, it's a lot of work.
But you're obviously very proactive and out there, because you wrote to us as soon as you launched, and we see
Yes.
a lot of graduates who really struggle to tell us that they've launched. It's just this
No, I'm yes,
mindset thing. But you
yes,
were straight in there.
I was in there, and this is one of the other psychological barriers that I actually overcame. Believe it or not, this is not me. This is like this talking on camera, showing myself. This is not me. Like, I would rather prefer to kind of just hide somewhere, and but I'm learning to do that. I'm actually, I've also been meaning to come on Instagram, like live or in video, and talk more about it. But since the past few days, I've been caught up with a lot. I've also recorded a few videos that I've been meaning to post, and I will do that now. I have to do that. There's no other way out.
Yes.
So yeah, now you have to. If you don't talk about your products, no one will. If you don't kind of like say it out loud, no one else will. So this is something that I've learned. I've even sent a lot of my product to other people, these micro bloggers, mini bloggers, but the way they talk, I still feel that, oh, she missed out this information, and this was crucial, and she didn't say that. So I am the person to do that. It's not her brand, it's not her business, it's mine, so I should be doing that. So yes, I've been since the past few weeks, we're kind of busy. The next few weeks we have certain events coming up in the family, so I'm going to be involved in that. But after that, I'm all on it. You'll be seeing a lot more of me on Instagram and Facebook, I'm sure.
You are a natural, so I can't wait. I think it's very
Yeah,
exciting.
this is actually my first time talking on the camera live. I've never done this before, believe it or
Well,
not.
you wouldn't know. It's like you've been doing it for years. You're doing a brilliant job.
This is the first time, and thanks to you, Lauren, you make me feel so comfortable. Like, when Kelly emailed me, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be my first time. Kelly's like, don't worry, it's going to be like, Lauren is going to be there, it's going to be like chatting with a friend. So I'm like, okay, cool, let me try it.
Well, you're doing a brilliant job. And this is how you set up a business online. This is how you sell, by being yourself. Because people
Yes.
want to know about you and they want to follow you. And as long
Yes.
as you can embrace the fact that you're just showing people who you are, I think our most successful graduates are the ones who've done that. And
Yes.
that's so
So
exciting to see.
hopefully, I plan to go that way, because I think my brand has a good background story. I think I have, a lot to share that I personally should. If I tell others to share it, they might not use my words. They might, miss out on something, which I've seen happening. So I am the one to do that.
Yes. So you've done our diploma in organic skincare formulation. You took the full time to complete it, and now you're doing 2 other courses with us. So
Yes.
which ones are you studying at the moment?
Currently, I'm studying natural cosmetic preservation and stability testing, and these are the two because these are just anhydrous products right now that I showed you. The masks are, they're dry powdered masks. And the other three are oils. So my next batch of products would be emulsions and serums. So emulsions I have gotten emulsions right because I do it for myself all the time. I make my own lotions and creams and everything, but in order to launch it, I want to make sure that we are preserving it properly, like safely with pH testing is something that I've always struggled with. Stability testing, I have always struggled with. So to kind of like perfect that, I needed to finish these two courses first in order to move forward with my next batch of products, because I think my next batch of products are ready, but I just want to kind of make sure that I have all the technicalities right, I have all the formulations correct, set down before I kind of bring them to the market, so then there's no room for error later on.
Yeah. And I should add that these are 2 small certificates that you sort of add on to your main diploma when you first get started, or you can come to them later on. And they help you learn how to choose the right natural preservative and how to test your products to make sure that they are stable. Because every single person has to constantly stability test their products if they're selling them to market. It's not just a one-time tick in the box. It's a constant process. But go and check them out on our website, because they're currently open for enrollment.
Right. They're actually very informative. They go very deep. I was actually, hoping to finish both of them in the span of 6 months, but that's not possible because they have a lot more information. The content is very theoretical and it's very I really have to sit down and put my brain down because it's very, it's very just nerdy science stuff. So it's harder for me, but I'm doing it. I'm getting there.
We are total nerdy
Yeah,
scientists.
you're a chemist, so it would probably be easier for you, but I'm not. So
yeah. I'm a biologist, not a chemist.
Yeah,
But
you're a biologist. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got another question here. This is a great question from Poniwati, who says, "Hi, Ikhlaas. Beside formulating, what are the skills you would suggest for us who want to launch our own skincare brands too, to pick up along the way?"
Besides formulating, what I said was, just having confidence in yourself, just kind of showing up for yourself. And currently, I'm wearing so many different hats. Like just basically maintaining my own website, email marketing, photography, kind of, just reaching out to people and asking them if, they're interested in my product, or if it was, this pandemic was not going on, my next step would be to kind of go to a trade show and find out retail partners.
Yeah.
And hopefully once I'm a little bit more established, this is going to be my next step, to seek out retail partners. And basically it's not one skill. You literally have to, unless you have like an unlimited budget or anything like that, you literally have to do everything, try to, or at least learn to do everything yourself, even a little bit, so that people can't really take you on a ride. Sometimes you hire someone and it's good to have a little information about, or a background information about what's, for example, a graphic designing, right? Simple changes could probably take a few minutes, and the graphic designer tells you, come to me after a week, and you're like, no, I can do it myself, so you can do it better. So you have to kind of have a little bit of basically a jack of all trades, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes.
And be prepared to sort of get stuck in and try things, because
Yes, I mean,
no one has every skill.
yes, I have spent countless hours on YouTube learning all these, things that I was not, like graphic design or website, maintenance or things like that, like email marketing. I've spent so much time with kind of learning that, and I'm still learning. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just barely there. But photography, social media presence, and branding, and there's so many things. So yeah, my next probably course would be the beauty brand management, because I need that.
Well, we look forward to welcoming you onto that
Yes.
course, because we run through in that course how to start your business from start to finish.
Yes.
Basically.
So I mean, yeah, that course would be a better answer to these questions, I think, rather than myself.
Yeah, so I call it like an indie beauty MBA, where effectively you learn how to turn that formulation into a business, and we walk you through all the checklists and blueprints and everything you need. And that's currently open as well. And I know a lot of people think I don't need this; I can figure it out for myself. But as you've just heard from me,
It's harder
class
to figure it out.
hours,
It's very
days.
hard to figure out yourself.
Yeah. So let's see. I've got another question here from Andrea, which is a great question. And hi everyone. I mean, lots of comments coming in, lots of people saying hi. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions for Ikhlaas, do leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to put them to her. Let's see. Andrea says, in your view, what's totally essential to stand out as a brand in such an overcrowded industry?
I think your brand should definitely have an edge. Like, I think my brand is more, based on Ayurvedic sciences. I relate it to my own story. So see, like, if you have something unique, like a USP, like a unique selling point, something that stands out in a crowd. Sometimes it's at one particular ingredient. I've seen a whole lines being built on a single ingredient. Uh, there was I don't remember the name, but there was a brand here in the United States that all their products contain turmeric, and like literally all of them, like, and so yeah, there should be like some kind of USP, unique selling point. It could be an ingredient, it could be a place. Sometimes we have entrepreneurs that sell related to a particular place, like this comes from Norway, or this comes from the Baltic Sea, or something like that, or it could be your own story. But yeah, you have to have a certain selling point in, because this market is like extremely crowded. It's very, like, yeah, so you need to be consistent, and definitely need to have some kind of USP, and no one can tell you your USP. You have to figure it out yourself, because yeah, no one can come, and no one will come and tell you that, oh, you should do this, because that should come from within yourself. You should feel it, and you should be confident in your selling point.
Yeah. What I will say is we talk a lot about it being crowded. And I mean, I'm not trying to gloss over the fact that there are tens of thousands of indie beauty brands out there. But the one thing I will say is, if you want to stand out, don't make products for yourself. And it's very easy to say that, but virtually every single person I've seen launch into starting an indie brand often starts by making them just for themselves, and thinking that they will sort of pigeonhole that into their USP and try and find a target customer who looks like them. But actually, you've got to find something that people want. And there are dozens and dozens of untapped niches in beauty out there that people just aren't going for whatever reason. And we've talked about them on our podcast, on many of the other live streams we've done. So I recommend really starting to think about what problems people have and what they want to buy beauty products for. And believe me, there are lots and lots of different untapped niches out there. So you just
there are. I mean, that's why, like, I kind of started with this because initially, when I was, when I entered Formula Botanica, being an incorporating Ayurvedic ingredients into my skincare wasn't my plan. But then, I just thought that, okay, then what's the difference between my products and something out there? So I kind of started to kind of look into my own background and see where I come from and what I can do to share my point of view to the world. Also, I found that there's like a kind of a gap in the market where Ayurvedic products are concerned, especially here in the US. They're not as popular as, let's say, Korean beauty, or, so there are a few brands, but there are still a few brands. So yeah, and it's still like an untapped, or, like a not saturated market, I would say.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for Ayurvedic products out there, and just because people aren't buying them at the moment doesn't mean that they won't.
Yes, exactly. People aren't aware of it. And just think about it, like, there are so many ingredients that are now the new buzzword. Like, for example, in the past 10 years, turmeric is like all the rage, and we've been using turmeric since I was born in India, and currently it's something else. Like, I hear ashwagandha and I hear moringa, and these are all the ingredients that we've been grown up. So they are all just coming out. And so why not just kind of bring them to the mainstream market, educate the audience about it, and go from there?
Yeah, I like it. You've got to find, basically educate your audience and tell them why your ingredients, your formulations are the best. I'm just going to put this one up. So Shad says, can you share with us your social media platforms? I would like to follow.
Sure. Should I write it here?
No, it's okay, because one of our team members at Formula Botanica has already put it up.
Okay, that's great. Awesome. Thank you.
You can follow Ikhlaas on Facebook and Instagram, and please do go and check out those two handles because, as you know, we should all lift up our small beauty brands around us and all support each
Yes,
other. So,
please go and follow me on Instagram.
yeah, go and buy some products.
Yes, please. Yeah, do that.
Last time I did one of these live streams with one of our graduates, she sold 20 kilos of black soap as a result. It was
Wow.
incredible.
Okay. I would have to go check my supplies closet first.
Well, I hope we have a stampede over to your
Yes.
website.
Thank you.
You very much
I
deserve
hope
it.
so
And
too.
so let's see. Can you talk a little bit about your average day now that you are a skincare and hair care entrepreneur? What
Yes.
do you do on an average day?
Well, as you probably know that I'm a mom of three boys. Currently, they're learning at home. The husband is working from home. So, everything is at home. So that does not stop. Obviously, my mom duties don't stop. My husband has a very busy, work schedule. So he does his best, but he can only do, because he has a corporate job. So he can only do so much, and the rest of it is mine. So, but still, I'm thankful for all the help around. My mom lives, right down the street, so I'm thankful for all the help. But mostly, like, I get done with like all the household chores like in a batch. Probably like, do batch cooking, or get the kids help with cleaning and stuff. And then most of my time currently, I'm not having like an influx of orders. So, that's shipping out orders is probably like, takes very less time. So most of my time is focused on kind of posting on social media, or, talking to potential partners, reaching out to people, emailing them and asking them, currently is just reaching out to micro bloggers and seeing if they're a good fit for my company, and researching new ways to kind of grow this in like a natural organic way without spending tons or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm also researching, also formulating these products, but then also currently researching on the next batch of products that I'm going to launch, which I think I'm working on body scrubs right now, and hopefully in a month or two that will be my plan. But and also kind of studying for these two certificates that now I've enrolled in the lab, so I'm there. So that pretty much takes up all my time now.
Yes, and well, I'm excited you've joined the lab. We've launched a membership site
I'm
at the moment.
enjoying it. Yeah.
It's not open for non-students yet, but it will be later this year. So we just opened it up for our students last month, and we've got, with the first sort of intake there. So stay tuned for that. But that's not quite open at the moment. What I was going to say was the one you touched on this, and I think it's important to cover this because a lot of people think you'll start and instantly there'll be this influx of sales, and it takes time to build up a business. So obviously you've touched very much on the processes that you're going through in order to get the word out there. And the very fact that you reached out to us and said, can you promote me? Can I come and do something? And we said, yes, come and do a live interview. That's the sort of thing that everyone has to start thinking about when they launch an indie beauty brand. It helps get the word out.
Right.
So you're formulating new products as well. What's next for Areesa Botanicals?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, my next step would have been to kind of source retail partners, and currently I'm working in, like, I've made a spare room in my house, like a proper lab. I've just kind of blocked that room. It's a very well functioning. It's very well working for me right now. But then if I grow, I might need to kind of find a space or something. I don't know. Right now, I don't see that happening in the very near future. So maybe like a few weeks or a few months down the line. But yes, my next step would have been to source retail partners for sure, to focus more on the online sales, to build more of a social media presence. To kind of get the word out there, basically. And believe it or not, like, a lot of people, when you launch, they will appreciate your product, they will encourage you, they will do everything, they will share, but very few people will actually buy, because to hit the buy button, it takes a lot. I really appreciate, I'm really thankful to all the people that have kind of bought from me as a new company. First, initially, like, I was good because a lot of my own family was buying, and thankfully, like, I have a wonderful family, my family, my friends, my extended relatives, they were buying. And then 2 or 3 days into launching, I actually got a first real order from a customer. And I was like, who is this person? Do I know her? Is she my friend? Is she from school? Like, who is this? And then I realized, oh my God, okay, I have a business. So this might be like a real customer. So now, because initially, like all the orders I had were from my family and my friends. So yeah, I mean, whenever I get an order from an actual customer, it's still a yay, aha moment for me.
Yeah, of course. Well, you've only just launched, so I mean that's incredibly exciting.
Yes,
But
and I'm so, I mean, yeah, and I write handwritten notes to every customer, and I say special thank you to all the actual customers who buy from me, because to show trust in a new brand is to kind of, support and encourage the person behind the brand. It's literally like a pat on your back that, okay, what you're doing is, kind of working. And some of them have been messaging me and telling me like, oh, yeah, this is working, or is this how this should work, or what should I do? And I'm like, I'm always there to answer these questions. So, yes, and selling is hard. It's not easy. You might have like, all these followers, all the buzz. It means nothing if it does not, translate to sales. And it's not going to happen right away. Even if you gain like 1,000 followers overnight, you probably might have two sales out of it. So it's very common. Don't get discouraged in the initial days, especially. And I have heard a lot of stories. I remember I was talking to a lot of our own entrepreneurs, like Carmen from Flower and Spice, and she mentioned that she didn't have sales for a long time after launching. And now she's at a very good place. She's all there. So I,
yeah, she had six figures in turnover
yes,
last year, and
yes.
that was after 18 months of trading.
Mm,
Carmen runs Flower and Spice. She's one of our graduates as well. In fact, there's an
yes.
interview just like this on our YouTube channel, which you can go and watch. Very inspirational. And she's selling all over the world. I think she's sold in like 60 countries or something. It's
Yes, she's shipping worldwide. Currently, I'm not shipping worldwide. I'm just trying to figure out more about logistics, but yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've got to start where you are. You can't
Yes,
immediately go global. That
yes, we
is
can.
something that will happen in time.
Exactly. Also, start where you are is very important. Like first, like when you want to start something, you start thinking all these big giant things like, oh my God, okay, I'm gonna order, like go to a contract manufacturer. I probably have to go to a lab, or like I have to buy all these thousands of dollars of equipment. But just basically start where you are is very important, and that itself, that process of growth itself, is going to teach you a lot of things that no one is ever going to tell you. I mean, there's going to be a lot of trial and errors, a lot of failures. I have experienced so much in the past in just this short amount of 3 weeks itself. So I know that future is going to be like a bumpy ride, but I'm all for it.
That's the role. That's the journey of the entrepreneur. Believe me, I'm still on that bumpy ride
Yes,
as well.
you are.
So I very much encourage everyone watching to go and support Ikhlaas as well. And Poniwati says, I've just followed you, followed Areesa Botanicals on Instagram. Best of
Wow,
luck.
I didn't check. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I would encourage you all to go and buy from Ikhlaas as well, because that way you can see the amazing formulations that she's putting out there into the world.
Yes, please, especially if you're in the United States, do it.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. So what would you say to someone who's considering to enroll with Formula Botanica at the moment? Because we're currently open for enrollment until the
Yes.
14th.
I would say if you're thinking about it, just go for it. Just dive in right now. It's not, there's nothing to lose. You probably, yes, you do pay for the course fee or whatever, but that covers more than enough for, it gives you back much more. It gives you like a clear perspective of, if what you want to do, and not just with just the basic formulation. Like, there's a lot of things to learn. It's like an open field. It's like an open encyclopedia. So you just go out there and do the course, and then you will actually figure it out if it is for you or not. And if even if you're thinking a little bit about it, I think it should be for you, because unless you wouldn't even think in that direction, right? Because it's not a very common area. Like, actually making skincare, a lot of people ask me, how did you actually get into this? Like, how did you, this is a hobby, but it's so uncommon. Like, how did you get into it? So even if you have a hobby and it's uncommon, that's okay. But this is the time when you actually kind of perfect your hobby, and you should definitely take a course with them. I would
Yeah.
suggest, if you have never taken a course, starting with the diploma in organic skincare formulation, or if you're all for it and if you're set, the currently the you have the entrepreneur program open as well, right?
No, that's not open at
Oh,
the
no,
moment.
that's not open. Okay.
In September, but you can certainly start with a diploma and upgrade to the entrepreneur program
Okay.
later. And as Ikhlaas says, start with the foundation diploma in organic skincare formulation, which, you know, over 8,000, 9,000, I think students have taken that. And it's the kickstart that everyone needs in order to learn how to formulate, because formulating is fun and it's rewarding and it's empowering, and you will go into the shops and you will think, hang on a minute, all these products that are stood here in front of me, I can make those too. I don't have
Exactly.
to do
You're
that.
right. You're so right. Like that's what I do. Like, in the recent years, my hobby has been to kind of just walk into stores or go online and flip and just read the labels. That's my thing. Like, I just keep on reading the labels. And sometimes, I see these products and like, selling for 3 digits, and I read the label and I'm like, what is this crap? Like, so sorry. But I just say that. And, a lot of people think that the more, like, the more expensive the product, the better it is. And like, when you read the labels, when you actually know how to read the labels, uh, you actually feel it. You actually feel that, yeah, these are the ingredients that are in, and if it's worth it or not. So this has been my recent hobby, to just kind of walk into a store and read the labels.
Yeah, it's empowering, because all of a sudden you'll go, oh, I know what that means. I know exactly what's
And
in. Actually, I could
I
whip
can
this
make
up.
it. That's actually how it started, because when I was starting out, I used to go out at there, and one of the many simpler products. There are a lot of brands out there which are very simple products as well. And I used to read the labels. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. I'm going to order the ingredients. I'm going to make it myself, and I did it. And then you also realize that there's such a lot of greenwashing out there in the market as well. A lot of big skincare brands that claim to be green and clean are actually not. They're not green and clean at all. So there's also a lot of misinformation where, people are advertising know this, know that on the labels, but then behind the scenes it's something else, and the customer doesn't know. They're not that informed about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's reading the labels is actually a skill as well that, you know.
It is, and it's empowering. You can become part of the green beauty movement. And we only work with natural and naturally derived ingredients. People often come to me and they're like, how do I use this ingredient? And I literally go, I have no idea. It's
You have no
synthetic.
idea.
We don't
Right.
work with it.
Right. Exactly.
I've got one more question here, which I'm going to answer real quick, actually, from Somya, sorry, who says, if we take up the skincare formulation course, how much time does it take to complete, provided I am doing it every day? So Ikhlaas said she took the full 2 years. Some people we see literally storm through it in a couple of months. If you're doing it every day, you could get through it quite quickly. But what I would say is, and we talked about this a little bit earlier on in the live stream, if you get a chance to catch it, is it's good to go through every stage, have some disasters, make some different versions of each product, and really challenge yourself as a formulator, because you're not the only person you're in a race with is yourself. The beauty industry will still be there when you finish, even if that is a year later. I want you to go, okay, I'm now learning how to make a foaming cleanser. I'm going to make 5 different versions, and I'm going to use this different ingredient and that different ingredient and test it out in different ratios. And that's the mindset of a formulator. So don't try and rush too fast. Really throw yourself into it and have fun with it. And there is no one standard answer to how long it takes to complete, because you're the person driving it forward. So it can be a couple of months or a couple of years.
I wouldn't suggest rushing through it at all, because the fun part is actually going through the whole, like you said, just going through the whole process nice and slow and learn every single. So you don't want to be just get done with it like quickly. It's the process is the fun part, and definitely take a long time to do it as much as you can.
Formulating is fun and rewarding. So on that note, I think we've come to the end of our interview. So I just want to say thank you, Ikhlaas, for giving up an hour of your time, telling us about your beautiful brand, Areesa Botanicals. Make sure you go and follow Ikhlaas. Let me just find those links again and I'll put them up here. You can follow Ikhlaas on Facebook and Instagram, and visit her website, where you must go and try out her products because they look fantastic.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your time as well.
Thank you. So if you are interested in enrolling with Formula Botanica, enrollment is currently open and will only be open until the 14th of July at 4 p.m. British time. So make sure you find out what time that is in your own time zone, or come and enroll with us right now so you don't have to wait until the last minute. We're already enrolling hundreds and hundreds. I expect to enroll over 1,000 students in the next week. And we are so excited about welcoming people in from literally all over the world. We're going to enroll our 10,000th student in the next, I think, 2 days. So I don't quite know who that's going to be, but very excited about that too. We're currently in 162 countries. So if you come and join us, there will very likely be someone in your country, in our community too, and you get to know them. Maybe, meet up with them, be study buddies, and create formulations that you truly love, like some of these fantastic formulations that were made by our graduates. So if you're interested, come and visit us at formulabotanica.com. I do recommend starting with our diploma in organic skincare formulation. If you want to start a brand, come and enroll for our diploma in beauty brand business management at the same time, and you can take those two routes at the same time together. And before you know it, maybe you'll be sat here on this live stream with me also talking about your amazing natural skincare or hair care brand that you've launched. And I can't wait to hear all about it. So on that note, thank you again, Ikhlaas. Thank you everyone.
Lorraine.
And we will be putting the replay will be up here on Facebook afterwards, and we will be putting it up on YouTube as well. So make sure you go and visit Areesa Botanicals, and then come and visit Formula Botanica and enroll.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining it, for all your questions, comments, and thank you so much, Lorraine, for having me again.
Thank you. Right. Bye, everyone.